Hello and welcome to Dad and Lad's 5-word challenge. And this week, the challenge was set by a little boy called Alistair, aged 6, from Glasgow in Scotland.
And the words were submarine, photograph, clock, candle, and ghost.
So let's listen out for those words during the story. And Alistair, I hope you enjoy it. The title of the story is The Deep Sea Discovery. As a child, Alistair was a water baby.
It all started with his favourite bath-time toy, a pirate ship, which he would insist on playing with for so long that the bath water would be cold by the time he finished.
As he got older, he would join the local swimming club and on weekends go kayaking with his dad on the lochs of Scotland.
Water was his happy place.
One year, the family went on holiday where the little boy got his first scuba diving experience. From that point on, Alistair was fascinated by what lay beneath the water.
Living near the river, he often saw ships sailing in and out, as well as being built in the dockyard where his dad once worked, and his granddad before that.
But following his scuba diving experience, it was not the ships he liked seeing most.
It was the submarines that he would see making their way to the sea. That got his imagination working over time.
Alistair became hooked by the smooth, dark tubes and the fact that they could go so deep underwater. There was one problem, though.
They didn't have windows, so he wouldn't be able to see anything. There must be another way, the boy thought.
As Alistair grew older, his love of the sea and all things beneath it never stopped. He was just as determined to explore the mysterious underwater world than he ever was.
School made way for college, and college made way for university. And it was here where Alistair, who is now a young man, saw a photograph of a sea exploration submarine, complete with windows.
That's it, he said, with a big smile on his face. That's how I can fulfill my dream.
From that moment on, he was on a mission.
Not only did he continue scuba diving, but he also trained to be a fully qualified deep-sea diver. As well as working hard at university, the young man also had a number of part-time jobs, which he used the money he earned to pay for sailing courses.
It was really difficult trying to do all these things at the same time, but eventually all the hard work paid off when he was selected to lead an expedition to the Bermuda Triangle.
Legend has it that during the times of pirates sailing the seas with their skull and crossbones flags flying high, that ships would often just disappear.
Poof, just like that, never to be seen again.
Rumours began to go around of magical forces, mysterious whirlpools, and even a ghost as the causes of all these problems. The pirates and other ships' captains got so frightened that they would sail around this strange area of the sea.
To Alistair, though, this was fascinating.
With the use of the latest technology, this exploration adventure was going to try and uncover the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle and search for the wreckage of any of the missing ships.
Whilst it was a bit scary, this is what Alistair had been dreaming of most of his life. He was so excited.
After months and months of training and preparations, the day of departure finally came. And when the alarm clock went off at 5 a.m., The young man jumped out of bed and got himself ready in record time.
When he arrived at the docks, it was a scene of chaos as things were being loaded onto the transport ship, including the submarine itself, and all the last safety checks were being conducted.
There were people and vehicles moving around everywhere. There were even helicopters buzzing around overhead, news crews packed into a large tent, and thousands of people lining the banks of the river, all wanting to get a peek of the vessel when it began its journey.
This was global news, and Alistair was going to be leading this historic event, the pet that his parents were so proud.
The man himself, though, didn't pay much attention to all the fuss. He was too busy thinking of all the cool stuff he might see.
Eventually, all the commotion died down. It was time to depart as the ship left the docks and set sail. Arr!
The voyage was a slow and very dull one, as the days passed, with the young man choosing to read in the evening by only the light of a candle as the flame danced around.
After days of waiting around, it was time. The exploration vessel had reached its final destination.
Alistair climbed into the submarine and did another check to make sure he had everything he needed before being lowered onto the water. After making sure all the systems were working properly and doing one last comms check with the mothership, he was off. He was now living his lifelong dream as the submarine disappeared under the water.
The underwater explorer was designed to look like a fish, admittedly a rather big fish, but it was doing the job perfectly as sea creatures of all shapes and sizes were being drawn to this strange new addition.
As for the colours that were on display, well, they were amazing as Alistair charted all the species that he was seeing as he stared out of the large viewing window. He couldn't take his eyes off all the wonderful things he saw. It was like he was under some sort of spell.
As he lowered the submarine deeper and deeper, it got darker and darker. The colourful fish he saw nearer the surface got even fewer.
There was, however, one fairly scary moment, though, as his vessel got caught in an old fishing net. But luckily for Alistair, his deep-sea diving skills came to the rescue as he exited the submarine and was able to cut himself free.
And any trapped fish, of course.
Even after that, he was determined to carry on. He wanted this more than anything, his mind still thinking of all the possibilities.
As he neared the seabed, the creaks and groans of his underwater vessel began. It was deep, very deep. It was also as dark as the night sky down here, so Alistair switched on the submarine's floodlights so we could get a better look.
Not a moment too soon either, as he very nearly crashed into a shipwreck, the image of a rather torn and battered skull and crossbones flag staring back at him.
This was the site he was sent to explore. There were wrecks everywhere, and very little in the way of any marine life, although Alistair does claim to have seen a new type of fish that he calls the trump fish.
He was going to call it a trumpet fish, on the account that the noise it made sounded like the musical instrument. But the only noise it really made was a trump, trump, trump.
The young man chuckled as he let out a trump of his own, a big, smelly bottom burp.
It was at that moment that he saw an orange glow and went to investigate. The closer he got, the temperature gauge began to rise. Alarm bells started sounding on the submarine. Could this be the reason behind the myth of the Bermuda Triangle? Deep Sea One to Mothership. Do you see this? Alistair said excitedly.
Roger, Deep Sea One. Mothership confirms visual. Now back away to a safe distance to take a seabed sample and return to the surface. And oh, congratulations, over, came the response.
What the young man had seen was an underwater volcano, hot lava spewing from the Earth's crust. Alistair's underwater dream was complete. The end.
Wait a minute. So volcanoes caused all those ships to sink?
I don't know, but it made for a good story though, right?
Yes, definitely.
The end.
The end.